Hello and welcome, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the CPA Exam Game Plan. And what does that mean? We're trying to figure out how to help you conquer the CPA exam in 3 months or 6 months or 12 months, whatever works best around your study schedule, what works best around your life. A little bit of background on myself. My name is Roger Philipp of Roger CPA Review. I went to college in Los Angeles. I then worked at Deloitte & Touche in downtown LA where I got my CPA certificate. Left there over 20 years ago and started teaching CPA Review. My job's to take accounting, to give it life, energy, passion, focus you into the key information, help you accomplish your goal, which is to one day sit for and successfully complete the CPA exam. A little bit about Roger CPA Review. We are still the fastest growing CPA Review course in the country. We have over 20 live locations. We have contracts with over 100 firms and governmental entities and private businesses, and that number keeps growing day by day by day. We'll talk a little bit later about how to prepare for the exam using the Roger method, where we have the most up-to-date textbooks, and we also include free updates as they are needed. We also get the highest verified pass rate in the industry, which is over 86%. And finally, unsurpassed value. Our prices are about 40 to 50% less than most of our competitors. What we're going to talk about today is your CPA exam game plan. What does that include? First of all, learning the basics of the CPA exam and what is included in the CPA exam, what's covered. Understanding the exam study process. So sitting down and saying, Raj, I'm excited and motivated, almost as excited as you. How can I start from today and get through the entire exam? Setting up your CPA exam goals, and finally applying for and scheduling for the actual CPA exam itself. So the first step we're going to discuss is learning the basics of the CPA exam. Now, the CPA exam, there are 4 parts to the exam, and I like to start off by letting people realize, hey, this exam is not an IQ test. You do not have to be a genius to be a CPA. For those of you that are currently working, look around the office. Those people you see that are CPAs, are they geniuses? I don't think so, but it's a test of discipline. If you study, you will pass. My job is to motivate you for the 300 to 400 hours of prep time it's going to take in order to get through all 4 parts of the exam. Now, as far as the exam itself, it's a 14-hour adventure. It consists of 4 different parts: auditing, fair, regulation, and BEC. Now with the audit exam, that basically includes things like planning the audit. It includes things like internal control, substantive testing, audit reports, SSARS, Statements on Standards for Accounting and Review Services. It includes more global information, global auditing standards. It also includes global ethics standards. So it's gone much more global as the exam changed back in 2011. So that's the audit exam, which is a 4-hour exam. Financial accounting, that includes your intermediate 1, intermediate 2, advanced government nonprofit. So what I've done is taken all that material and squeezed it into one book just to focus you on the key information. So what does that include? Leases, bonds, pensions, deferred taxes, contingent liabilities. It also includes IFRS, International Financial Reporting Standards. So what I do is I'll walk you through and talk about how we account for leases or property, plant, and equipment, fixed assets. This is how we do it under GAAP. Then I've got to say, okay, under IFRS, it's a little bit different. We're going to have a revaluation account and so on, because that's what they're currently testing as far as comparing and contrasting GAAP versus IFRS. Regulation is tax and law. That's a 3-hour exam. With tax, it includes individual tax, 1040. It includes your corporate tax, 1120, 1120S, partnerships, 1065, 6252 installment sales, 1031 like-kind property exchanges, estate, trust, gift tax. Exempt organizations are on the exam. That's all part of regulation. Then we have professional responsibilities and business law. Business law basically being UCC, Uniform Commercial Code contracts. It includes sales of goods. It includes all these different areas that, again, are in business law, which a lot of us took a business law course in college, but it was years ago. We may not remember it. Don't worry about it. I'll cover it. Then we've got BEC, which is also a 3-hour exam. That includes your information technology, financial management, microeconomics, macroeconomics. Corporate governance is a big area now. Also a favorite for a lot of us, cost and managerial accounting. So that's the way that it's set up. Once you pass a part, you have 18 months to pass the rest. But believe you me, those 18 months go by quickly. That's why it's important to set up a study schedule and a schedule so that way we can get through all 4 parts in a timely manner. As far as the exam format, the way it's set up is for fair, audit, and reg, it's about 60% multiple choice and 40% what we call TBS task-based simulations. This is kind of the way it was set up back in the day when I took the exam, back in the 80s. The exam was 60% multiple choice and 40% long problems, where you had a blue book and you had to write them all out from scratch. Now what it is, it's back to 60-40, but it's 60% multiple choice, where you have 4 choices, and then you've got 6 or 7 of what we call task-based simulations. For fair and audit, they're the 4-hour exams. They give you 7, of which 6 are graded. For regulation, it's a 3-hour exam, so they only give you 6, of which 5 are graded. Of course, you never know which one is or is not graded. The one that's not graded is being pre-tested. Now, as far as fair, audit, and reg, you're going to have generally 6 problems and 1 research question. Although the pre-tested question could be a research, so you could take an exam and have 2 research questions where one of them is pre-graded and then the other 5 are going to be problems. The problems could be on a myriad of topics. They could be on leases or pensions or bonds, consolidations, governmental accounting, nonprofit organizations. So it's a whole smorgasbord of accounting. It's fun and exciting. As far as BEC, it's 85% multiple choice and 15% written communication or essays. The written communication isn't something to be afraid of. There are 3 of them, of which, again, 2 are graded, 1 is just pre-tested. Now, as far as the written communication, they look for a beginning, a middle, and an end. Is it a professional business letter? And I was just talking to a couple of CPAs yesterday at a meeting where I was giving a presentation, and the same thing. They were trying to impress upon the kids how important your written communication is in the real world. That's why they're testing it on the exam. Now, in the olden days, it was tested on fair, audit, and reg. They realized, you know what? We're testing the same thing 3 times. Let's move it over to BEC. So I want you to realize what they're really looking at is it doesn't have to be correct, but it has to be relevant, on topic, and it has to be written correctly. Clear, concise, complete, use of standard English, appropriateness for the reader, did you stay on topic? So I consider it a pretty easy 15% of your score. I will talk about how to prepare that in class as far as maximizing your points. Now, when can I sit for this exam? The way the exam is set up, basically you could take an exam 8 months a year. So there's 4 months that are called a blackout month. And you'll notice there are months March, June, September, and December, or months 3, 6, 9, and 12, blackout, no exam. The other 8 months, you can take 1 part, or 2 parts, or 3 parts, or all 4. So it's totally up to you. And one of the things I'm going to talk about are study schedules, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. It's a matter of how you want to set up your life for the next several months. If you want to just focus on the exam and put your life around it, maybe the 3 or 6 month. If you want to still run your life and then fit the exam around it, maybe that's the 12-month schedule. Back in my day, I sound like your parents, when I was your age, I had to study for all 4 parts. I had to take all 4 parts at once. You had to pass at least 2 parts, and the parts not passed, you had to get at least a 50% on. So back in my day, we all studied all 4 parts simultaneously. It was a big deal, but it was just expected. We would spend about 4 months studying all 4 parts and then taking all 4 parts. In today's day and age, because you can sit for 1 part at a time, some people say, well, I guess I'll just prepare that way. Sure you can, although there's a lot of overlap between all the different topics. That's why I always encourage people to study for maybe 2 parts at a time. Because of that overlap, it helps you to not only understand it, but then also to apply the information. The second step is understanding the exam study process, which means, Raj, and I can feel it, you're excited. You're like, Raj, I'm so excited about this exam. What is it going to take for me to get through all 4 parts? Basically, it'll take you about 300 to 400 hours of prep time. And that's not a number I'm making up. It's what the AICPA says the average successful candidate will spend, about 300 to 400 hours. So that means you want to budget your time wisely. My course, whether you do an online course, whether you do my really popular USB course where you can just plug it and play it, whether you come to one of my live locations, basically my course is about 110 hours. So for about 110 hours, I'm going to walk you through all the different topics. And since I teach all 4, and I call it a review course, but there's a lot of stuff you're not reviewing because you've never seen it before, but I will teach it to you step by step by step. And because there's so much overlap in the topics, I will try to explain it so you're not just memorizing it, but